Hello, everybody, and welcome to the February 2018 edition of the Bizarre Brief. I don't know why I did it in the spooky voice.
Yeah. Ooh. Our favorite holiday. Tax day. That's next month.
That's next month. I'm not looking forward to it. It's going to be a bad time. Hello, everybody. I'm Bryce Castillo, joined as always with Brandt Hughes.
Hi, that's me.
David Rowan.
That is me.
And Jeff Schusler. Hey. And this is the behind the scenes show where we talk about all of your favorite properties on the internet, like Scam School and Modern Rogue and Night Attack.
Pets.com.
Pets.com, of course, Pfizer. Everybody knows we talk a lot to do with LandoLakes.com. We are now proud to announce that we're managing LandoLakesButter.com.
You know, you joke, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was an episode of the Bizarre Briefing where we were like, oh, hey, by the way, Brian acquired all of these properties.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would go,
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's our business now. Cool.
We need to ramp up the butter
what
business.
happened with the article stuff.
Yeah,
I think we've talked about this, but basically
On last month's show, check it out.
yeah. But if you missed it, basically there was like a roadmap to doing daily articles, which was expedited by a certain site firing a lot of people Brian knew the names of and liked.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we have a great editor-in-chief doing really great articles.
Yeah.
A lot of really great articles. This past month had the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds article from Justin Robert Young and John Teasdale.
Yeah, that was a lot of
The
fun.
President's Fight.
The President's Fight on PUBG, in Battlegrounds. There was also that was our most traffic day until like a week later when John wrote an article for Cracked. Which
I'm sorry, what is this?
Cracked.com. Cracked.com.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Cracked.
With the T.
Yeah.
And so we had like two like peak traffic days over this past month. So congratulations to John Cheese for all the great work he's done, and all of the freelance writers at themodernrogue.com. Let's talk about the past month. This past month being February, and we're almost near the end of mystery boxes going out.
I believe the last mystery box will go out today. There have just been like a literal handful that have just been special cases, but most of them all went out before Friday of last week, so they should start arriving in people's post boxes and parcel lockers and doorsteps and elevator shafts. I don't know where people live.
In the shaft.
Yeah, they leave.
Not even in the cab.
They press the button to the person's floor, and then they just hope for the best.
Well, they have to put it for the floor below the person if it's on the shaft, because it would have to be on top of the car.
Right.
Yeah. How many boxes went out this year?
Well, so locally, I think we did about 1,300 in total.
Wow.
500 of those came from our fulfillment center, and the other 700 or so came from us here in Austin. And Jacob was responsible largely for the ones that came from Austin.
That's great.
And he loved making every single one of them by hand.
A lot of love.
He said only 700. He said, "Can I get another 700?
Yeah.
Can I get a head start on next year?" And I was like,
ready.
"Slow down, Jacob. Like, just do these." In fact, Waffleophagus here says Jacob not able to make it, which makes me think that Waffleophagus is actually Jacob over at the warehouse.
No. Waffle is Matt, who's also a local. We actually hung out with Matt.
Is this Matt from the shoot?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
We hung out with Jacob over the weekend.
But yeah, could you guys explain to people who Jacob is? Because I still don't know.
So Jacob was
I've met him.
Yeah, he came to a shoot. He came to a Scam School shoot once or twice, and somehow I don't know what his relation, whether he's like just a freelance hand or if he's like doing an internship, or you have a better
actually
idea.
Yeah, I think he is kind of an internship is a good way to describe it. Came to the shoots, and then we had a thing where we all got together and got a head start, which I'm going to put in quotes, for mystery boxes.
Sure.
And he helped out with that, and it just became one of those things where, do you want to continue doing what you just did tonight? And he said, yeah. So he's been helping out for the past month on the mystery boxes, and that's that. It'd be great if we had like a hilarious photo of him to just throw up. But
yeah, he's not a wacky guy. Brian is very happy that he has kind of Brandt's sense of like tone.
Yeah.
Like kind of like not underspoken, but like whatever the right word is. Underspoken? What am I thinking of?
Pathologically introverted. No, I'm just
No. That's no. Low key.
Low key.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah. He actually comes out of that shell behind closed doors.
Oh,
but,
yeah. He was doing some trash talk when we hung out this weekend. We were playing Mario Kart, and he at some point he started to get into it. But so cool. That's cool. He seems like a cool guy. I know either he or Brian really wanted him to be on this show at some point.
Yeah, well, actually, I was going to have him come over here today, but we have Modern Rogue Patreon t-shirts that need to go out, so that's what he's doing right now. So all of those will be going out, and the sacrifice is that we don't see Jacob this month, but we might see him next month.
Okay, very cool.
And
keep an eye out.
That's quarter 4 shirts, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Okay. So we are just at the end of quarter 1.
Yeah.
So
that's how we do it. We do one back for whatever quarter we're in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. At risk of receiving the word nothing, is there a status on quarter 1 shirts? Do we have a design for quarter 1?
I have an idea.
Okay.
And then hopefully it's tough because I've got to find time, and there's been very little time, but I've got to get that design out pronto. And this weekend sounds like there's going to be stuff that'll occupy time. And then so that'll
be coming soon.
Quarter 1 shirts will probably run a little bit late, but all of them run a little bit late.
Yeah.
And it sounds like quarter 2 we might have a guest artist, so that'll be fun.
That's right.
And we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah.
You could just do a minimalist design for quarter 1 where it's just a white t-shirt with just MR and like 10-point font in the corner.
Or it's just like the broken image logo or something.
Yeah. It's like Dunzo.
But you have to like you'd have to like copyright free it up, like remake it, but like the turn on the page is like, or like the dog ear on the page is on the other side.
Nice. Yeah.
Instead of like a red pyramid, it's like a green pyramid.
Yeah.
And instead of like a blue cube, it's like a blue hexagonal prism.
Okay.
That
sounds like a band. Please welcome
Blue Hexagonal
Blue Hexagonal Prism. Doing their 80s covers.
Speaking of this weekend, it is in just a few days the opening of South by Southwest here in Austin, Texas.
Oh, wow.
It is a big festival where musicians and filmmakers and app developers and brands
and hipsters
and the locals who hate South by Southwest.
A lot of those.
The traffic.
And the cars,
and all the crowds at every venue. Yeah.
It's a big festival that goes on for 2 weeks here in Austin, Texas, and we are doing a show of Night Attack, a live Night Attack podcast this Saturday at the Kung Fu Saloon at 2 p.m. Central. We will be trying to stream it here on twitch.tv/Night Attack. That almost certainly will happen. We're gonna have Brian, of course. Justin Robert Young will be flying in a couple days. Tom Merritt will be there. He of the Daily Tech News Show fame, and Jomo and the Possum Posse, of course, will be back to be our house band. It'll be a really good time, but it will also be like Brandt mentioned, something that will also be a little bit of work time for us as we film it and get the audio stuff set up and all that.
Now, when you say Justin Robert Young is flying in, you mean he's going to parachute into the Kung Fu Saloon, right?
Yeah. They've got an open sort of roof on that patio there, so he's going to come in through there.
I'm sorry, I might have ruined it.
He's got one of those suits where you could kind of glide.
Oh, the squirrel
suit.
suit.
It's got the webbing and everything.
He's doing that over downtown Austin.
Yeah, I don't see
he's going to air brake right over top.
So hopefully he doesn't crash into the Greenlight Social upstairs to Kung Fu, but we'll see.
Hey, that's a risk you gotta take sometimes.
It's the energy of a live theater, So that's coming. I hope everyone can make it out. David and Jeff, I hope we guys see you there if you're available.
I'll hang glide in.
We're not going to ask you to work too much. But no, it'll be a good time. And it's free to the public. That's the other thing. It's free. So that'll be a good time. And it'll be on nightattack.tv on Tuesday after we record it live. And I have no idea where that's going to fall in relation to where this podcast is coming out, because this podcast comes out irregularly.
Nice. Nice.
So that's South by Southwest. We did some shoots over the past month. We did some shoots. Do you guys remember doing some shoots?
Not really.
There were shoots?
Refresh my memory.
Okay, so we do a show called Scam. Okay, so there's a show called Scam School.
Okay.
Okay. At the bar.
I'll take your word on it.
So we
mostly at the bar.
Mostly at the bar, yeah. And we did 2 shoots over this past episode. Between episodes, we did a shoot at the Rusty Cannon with Alex Rangel. Those episodes, most of those episodes have gone up. I think there's 1 or 2 still in the hopper.
I think we only shot 2, and then 1 went up. So.
Yeah, that's right. So we're waiting on 1, which I think is waiting, which is like had a merch element to it. So we need an interface about that.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to be a standalone episode, or if it was just going to exist in that particular merch video. So we'll
the eraser thing.
No.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because we talked about doing a merch thing. So
Gotcha.
Anyway, so there's still 1 more of those in the hopper, and then we went and we shot 4 episodes with Diamond Jim Tyler at the Handlebar, which was great. Like Diamond Jim's like a super pro. He knows the tricks. He knows how to do them. He nails them. And I think 1 or 2 of those have come out. Those will come out soon. We also shot some Modern Rogue over the past month. We shot the Tank episode. Was the Tank episode since last?
Probably. We shot it the weekend before it went up.
Yeah. So then, it probably would have been before
1 month ago, almost exactly, I think. Right?
Yeah. Which was a trip.
It was an interesting thing. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Tank shoot a little bit more if we can.
Okay.
So tank is a very easy word to describe, I think, the core premise of that episode.
I think you actually mean technical.
Okay, yes. But it really was more of a potato cannon.
Right.
They just made a potato cannon, which is cool because people want to know how to make a potato cannon.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
It's like a fun little science experiment.
Yeah, and I get the feeling that for probably a lot more people than I would expect, just grew up making a potato cannon at some point. Like, show of hands, have any of y'all made a potato cannon?
Especially like in rural South.
Yeah.
U.S.
So nobody here. Oh, I bet Idaho.
Oh yeah,
I wonder if
sure.
people in Idaho have made a lot of potatoes.
The home of the potato cannon.
It might be like sacrilegious up there. I'm like,
oh yeah, don't mess with the sacred staple.
Yeah.
Though I would say the cheese hats, like Wisconsin cheese hats, Wisconsin, are like the opposite though. Well,
they're not actually made of cheese, are they?
Well,
I mean,
what is cheese?
Made them in science class in Ohio.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Look at that.
Waffle says he made a potato cannon for a 3rd grade project. Whoa. Okay. Wowzers. Okay. But see, so I think a good chunk of people have actually just made them as like a childhood thing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And as someone who never did or never thought to, it was interesting to see it portrayed like that.
Sure. Yeah.
And then they strapped it to the Jeep, and then spent 30 or 40 minutes trying to hit the mannequin.
Yeah.
The alien.
The gray alien
Child.
No.
That's canonically the name.
The child.
It's the changeling. And also, fun little thing about that. When we were setting up for the demonstration at the end, Brian was like, "I've got this idea. What if he keeps teleporting and he goes to different areas, and then we're like, oh, he's over there, we got to shoot him." And I was like, oh, that's a great idea, because then you won't have to drive around as much, and it'll be easier to set up for, and we could stop down and move it and just set up shots for it and everything.
Yeah.
And then he was like, great. And then he drove off. And then we're like, okay, we're ready. And then he just drove in circles around it the entire time. And it never moved at all. And I was very confused by that.
I get, so it was edited such that you get a sense of how futile it was an effort trying to hit this not moving mannequin with a potato cannon.
Right.
But it took them a while. Like, did you cut you had to have cut attempts of them trying to hit it.
Almost certainly.
Yeah. But I think if I am trying to like emulate Brian's mind in that moment, it's, it is not likely that we're going to hit this thing more than once or twice. So what if we just do it like this? And then that's simpler. I'd like to think he would edit down for simplicity's sake, even though history tells me that's not always the thing that happens.
Sure. There were also a lot of occasions of, you see there's a close-up shot like dead on of the changeling. And Brian just kept like driving the Jeep right in front of that camera and then stopping. And so it's like, we have 2 cameras on our target and you're completely blocking one of them.
I know. Well, and then you move the camera because he stopped it in front of it once. And then the next time he stopped in front of that camera.
Yeah. I shifted it because he was stopped in front of it and he drove in a circle and stopped in front of it again.
Yeah.
Which is one of these things where it's like, I wish there was a little bit more planning that went into it just to make my life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But I think it mostly came out okay.
Mm-hmm. This was also one of the few episodes so far where we've used the GoPros, like in a very heavy fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And this time we actually had real GoPro designed equipment designed to hold GoPros
instead of just Gorilla Tape onto a hood.
Yeah. And so I went and bought some suction cups and some little attaching GoPro accessories are a good idea.
Sure.
Right? The idea of like a universal mount, where it's like, okay, the thing goes in the thing and then you just do a screw and that's the thing and they're all the same thing.
Right.
But it's never that easy. It's never that easy. But in any case, how was it working with that footage? Because I know when I've used GoPro footage in the past, I've had to like unwarp it, and I think was having to do a lot of zooming stuff because I was a little too wide on the stuff that I had shot in the past. Like, was it a simple or clean process for you to use those GoPro footage?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it was the kind of thing where every now and then I would be like, oh man, I wish this was slightly to the left or slightly to the right for one reason or another. But generally speaking, they were pretty well framed and they looked good enough for what we needed out of them.
Were you happy with the resolution? Oh, okay. Did you have to unwarp them?
No, I just left them as is.
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess the way that they're set up here, where Brian is inside the car, and so the framing around it feels natural, and then where Jason is in the air and doesn't have any surrounding walls.
Yeah.
Kind of lessens that distortion element.
Yeah, and also I've never been terribly bothered by that kind of thing. The sort of wide angle warping stuff. I mean, I've seen some skateboarding videos. I know a thing or two about wide angles.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it was totally fine. We tend to use those a lot on car episodes.
Yeah. Well, and
that seems to be the most natural fit for them.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like we can't be there in the car with the guys, but
we've tried to give them a camera to hold, and it doesn't always work out as well as you would think.
Well, I am glad that those came out well and that those accessories worked, because one of them is like a GoPro branded suction cup, and then one of them is like some cheap Joby brand thing. But it seemed like they both kept up and didn't fall down, and the GoPros didn't overheat because it was kind of cold that day.
Yeah. And also that potato can was a little bit louder than it might come across on the video, especially when we were doing test fires in the middle of
warehouse.
In the middle of like a crowded industrial section.
Gosh. And yeah, the ones we shot outside, echoed because of the business park. I feel like.
Yeah, and they're like, let's go again. And I was like, no.
We're good.
You're definitely going to get the cops called on us. You're shooting a gun in front of a bunch of businesses.
Well, like on the second shot, or on the second time they test shot, you can kind of see them. I don't know if it made it into the edit. You can kind of see them looking off screen because one of the other proprietors of the business park was like out taking her trash out right before we did that second test shot.
Yeah.
I was like, we're good neighbors. This is good. So that's a tank shoot. Good episode though. It came out really well. I really enjoyed watching how the edit of them trying to take down the child came about. That's the real fun thing, I think, for me watching back on Modern Rogue episodes is like seeing them play around in the space and less of them fumbling their way through a build.
Yeah.
You know. So that was a tank shoot. That was pretty fun. Let's talk a little bit about this Brandt. I think it's time for Science with Brandt Corner.
Science with Brandt Corner.
Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to, so this past week we had an episode go up on Modern Rogue that was about starting fires with batteries.
Yes.
And the first one was about, a classic demonstration of, you get a 9-volt battery and you touch it onto steel wool and the steel wool catches fire. And it's a very visual delight, visual treat. And they started doing it and immediately said, yeah, I just have no idea how this works. And I thought, well, that seems...
That's not going to pass.
Not satisfactory. And so I thought I would dig into figuring out why some of this stuff worked. So I had a whole 3-minute bit that explains the science behind how that works, and there you can see my typo of Newton's cradle.
Oops. You mean Netwan's cradle?
Uh-huh. Yeah, definitely got a lot of comments about that. That's fun. But it was one of these tough things where if you've seen the Lemon Sun Gun episode, you know that I don't really know electricity or batteries or science.
Yeah.
Not really my strong suits. So I put like 3 days of research into this or something. Because I was supposed to get it done early so I can leave for the weekend to go to a wedding. And it was supposed to get done on a Wednesday and it ended up getting done Friday morning because I just really wanted to get that right.
Yeah.
And not only do you have to get a lot of research to properly explain what's going on, but you have to figure out how to visually demonstrate what's going on and explain that to the viewers. And I went to some extra lengths to make sure to try to get it right.
Did you have the correct number of protons there?
I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
I believe those are electrons.
They are electrons.
Oh, I didn't watch the episode. I saw a particle.
Yeah,
I saw a particle. It was green. I've always been taught that actually green would be neutrons. I think, right? Isn't in the classic way, and then isn't there a standard color for? Aren't electrons black?
I don't know.
I mean, not in real life.
There's colors on subatomic
I don't
particles.
see color in my subatomic particles.
And they're all in the right orbitals and stuff.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
And it's
excuse me, Brandt. It's a cloud. It's not 2-dimensional.
Yeah. And so I tried really hard to get it right. And by all accounts, it sounds like I did that and accomplished it. A lot of the comments were very kind to me in that regard, except for the Netwan's cradle thing.
Netwan would be a good name for somebody.
Yo, Netwan is a pretty rad name.
Oh my God, that would be a perfect name of a cryptocurrency in China, the Netwan.
I see what you've done there.
Yeah.
Okay. Netwan.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna Google that. Stop.
No, I think that's a good idea.
You should have put that up. The first thing it said was, "Did you mean Newton?"
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Brandt, Brandt, a question mark.
Hey, After Effects does not have a spell check. Thank you very much. I typed it in by hand. Did not copy and paste it.
I believe. Oh, maybe Netwan is the name of a Newton or a neutron.
Wow. Oh, wait a minute.
Creole in Haitian Creole wiki, the Netwan.
I'm just
Netwan say yon particules. I'm done doing that.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. I would recommend ceasing.
Also desisting.
Yeah. And also, I sent it out to one of our science fans who sent us an email, a long, detailed explanation of how lemon stun gun could theoretically work and how it did work, which was very helpful. And then I sent it to him, and he was like, "Yeah, you're pretty much right."
Oh, good.
Which was nice.
Wasn't the thing with the lemon stun gun that it was using up all of its battery power to light the LED?
So that's like,
or that was a theory.
That's part of it.
Okay.
And that is a theory because there is like a leak that happens with that, but also it might have also not been enough power to actually start charging up the capacitor any appreciable amount.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because there's a certain limit at which you have to break through a barrier or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But yeah, with the battery thing, the lemon stun gun battery, I accidentally put Ohm's law on screen when it was definitely not Ohm's law.
Yeah. God.
Which was
Jesus, Brandt.
really embarrassing because it's like that was like a sort of last minute research and last minute change, and then I put it in and I was like, oh, this is kind of clever because I'm using the sound effect that we used with Reinheitsgebot, and Ohm was German, so that's like a funny like comparison thing. And then
turns out you can't use artistic license with science.
Sure. And then exhausted after working for 20 hours or whatever, the episode goes live, and then there's just a flood of comments that's like, that's not Ohm's law. Nope.
Nope.
And that made me a little bit gun shy about like putting anything on screen that's sort of science related. So that kind of explains why I went so deep into this one.
Okay, this parlays into a question that I have for everybody. I'll start because I had one very recently. Have you ever had a small or innocent like mistake that you've done?
Never.
Or goof up? No, come on. That you were like felt almost immediately like really bad about, and you also couldn't like change it or save it in any way?
Every time I send a text message.
so like we did the podcasts yesterday, and we were doing weird things with Brian and Andrew Main and Justin Robert Young, and we were near the end of the After Things part of the podcast. And I don't know how it happened. I don't know for what reason my body did this, but I muted Andrew, who is ostensibly like the main host of that show, for like 3 minutes, like through an entire conversation. And it was only when someone threw to him to ask his opinion that everyone realized, oh, he could not be heard, and like he. To make it funny, he kind of kept harping on it so that it was a funny thing that everyone could laugh about.
Like mouthing.
Well, no, just like no. Anyway, but I like have been beating myself up over it because it was like, it meant that the questions that he had, we had to splice back into the episode in a different way, and if you watched live or if you watch it on YouTube, it's not like that, and it's like. It's embarrassing. I feel I wish I didn't do that.
Just splice him back in the Batman voice.
Yeah. Well, and then so this is unrelated, but this is a similar thing of just me having brain farts lately. I was at a party over the weekend and I had a drink and I was just standing by the kitchen and just holding the drink. And I don't know what compelled me to do it, but I'm holding it in my left hand, and my right hand just goes bop.
And knocks it out?
Knocks it onto the ground. Like a half full glass of this mixed drink. Like, I don't know why I just did that. That was so stupid.
I do that. I knock my drink out of my hand all the time. So don't worry about that one.
Like accidentally?
Oh yeah. And then I recover by claiming that it's not a party until someone spills their drink.
Yeah.
That's my go-to line.
Right. It's not a party without a party foul.
Yeah.
Do you guys, Jeff or David, have any similar like embarrassing thing you kind of couldn't immediately take back?
Go for it.
I mean, probably plenty of things in life. I think that the most embarrassing thing video-wise that comes up is it was like the third scam school that I ever did was where Matt showed Brian this card trick with a bicycle deck and a hat and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And it ended up needing to create this recap at the end that extended, like I was kind of on time for once, and then we created this whole separate section which kind of recapped the entire trick that worked out well, and there was just a dumb typo in there. And it sucked because I had put a lot of time and effort into it, and then it was just like 40 minutes after it was up.
Typos on YouTube are the worst because you can't replace it.
Yep.
You can't fix it. You can't even do annotations anymore to like try to cutesy it up or whatever. It's such a bummer.
I think
David?
my go-to embarrassing thing that happens quite frequently is the whole, you're ordering something and they say, enjoy your meal, and you say, you too.
Oh, okay.
They're like, hey, enjoy your meal. You're like, you too. And they're like, fuck it, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm like, get out of here.
When it's like, you shouldn't have said that.
Well, it's
you
because
should have said, have a nice day.
I actually blame myself because I
What?
think like in my head, I already have my response before they've even said what they're going to say. And maybe I should actually listen to someone before I think of what I'm going to say. But I was like, they're going to say thank you.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, you too.
Thank you too.
Or have a nice day, and I'll say you too. Or thank
Yeah.
you, and I'll say you're welcome.
See,
But,
that's the thing. When you're dealing with hundreds of customers a day,
yeah.
you got to like not set people up for that. That's a force of evil in the world if you don't.
Oh, I see. You're saying like
Like you have a societal impotence.
it should be a capital offense. You're right. You're right.
I'm just
You're right.
saying.
I've never understood why people feel so bad when they do that. I don't know.
See, I just say I appreciate it.
You too.
I appreciate it.
Right. I appreciate it. Yeah. That's what I would if I heard them.
Yeah.
Enjoy your meal. Oh yeah. Thank you.
But see, I never tell people to have a good day.
What?
And why would you?
Just as a policy.
Why?
I hope they have a bad day.
No.
And if they say have a good day, what you should say is like, look, I'll do what I want.
80% of customer service
Absolutely.
is lying, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you want them to have a good day or not.
I don't need to give them customer service. They're
Yeah.
giving me customer service. I pay for the right for them to be nice to me.
Yeah.
I'm always right. The customer is always right.
Sure. Okay. Sure. Let's do a quick, fun little thing. So, one of the upcoming products on the store.
Good segue.
David, you can talk a little bit more about this, but it's basically a knife or a pen that has a knife in it.
Okay. Yeah. So the basic idea is it's a pen that has a knife in it.
Okay. Now, this is a pen that you can write with that has
also
a knife
has
that
a
you can
knife
cut with
in it. Yes.
Okay.
So inside the pen, which is a silver pen that you can write with, there's a knife, and the knife is able to make cuts.
And you can cut with the knife. Okay.
And then you can also cut with the knife.
Okay.
You can do that too, but you can also cut with it. And then, so we're trying to figure out what to call this. So it's like, imagine does anybody have a pen? I should have brought one.
Yeah, Kevin.
Was it 1994?
What?
That would be if I said pencil.
Yeah, that'd be
Although I'm one of the few people that still likes to write with pencils. But imagine if you can take off this part, junk, and then here is
the back side
knife pointed in this direction.
Oh.
And so you can then hold it and stab Brandt.
Oh, interesting.
That's what it's for. It says engraved on it, says please stab Brandt. It doesn't say that. But it's so it's serrated. It's a nice thin thing. You can use this letter opener. You can actually write with the pen. It does, and it's a nice looking pen. It looks like you would
Like a fancy pen.
Yeah, it doesn't look like this kind of thing.
Yeah,
Which,
that crappy promotional Twitch pen that Twitch gave us.
It's probably a great pen.
Thank you,
What is it?
Twitch, for
It's
your
like a
bad
zebra
pen.
or a pilot or no, it's non-brand.
No, it's,
okay.
yeah, it's branded.
But we don't know what to call it, and we're thinking some sort of play on the word pen, but we're not limited to that. So maybe something like a all right, yeah, pen knife. We thought about that.
Okay.
How about the mighty pen?
The mighty pen,
Mighty pen. Yeah.
Because it's mightier than the sword.
the penultimate something, the penalty, the penalizer,
The right edge.
the
Sharpie ready.
the Sharpie was one of with
yeah,
a
that's
Y, like SHRPY. I don't know. Anybody have any ideas out there in
I like
among the millions of watchers?
mightier than the sword or something
The
like
mighty
that.
pen?
The mighty pen. Like that's cute. That's just kind of a cute thing, right? Of like, oh, it's this thing, but it also does have a knife. So it's also super dangerous.
Penmanship.
The penmanship is really good.
Yeah.
That's for refractal.
That is pretty good.
Impeccable penmanship. Yeah.
That's something about.
Pen is mighty. Well, I think we can stop now. That's pretty much gonna.
Man.
Penmanship.
I was watching Casino this weekend. So something about Joe Pesci.
Oh, yeah, stabbing him
the
in the neck
Pesci special.
with the-
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Joe Pesci special. That's
Well,
pretty.
you'd
funny.
have to leave it to just like Pesci or Joe, because you couldn't use his.
Joe's special.
But the Joe's.
I don't know.
special.
Can you just email Joe Pesci and be like, "Hey, we have a knife that's also a pen. Is it okay if we name it after you?" He might be cool with it.
He might.
He's
He
like,
might want to cut out.
Hey guys.
What if? So you know how some pens are ballpoint pens? What if it's like the
Ballpoint pen. What's that?
the knife point pen, the sharp point. Sharp point is nothing. But I
You said it with conviction. You're like, what about this?
Sharp
Like,
point.
like the universe had just bestowed upon you the best idea, and you're like, what about it? Sharp point? Penmanship's pretty good. Pretty
penmanship
tough.
is.
I like how
really
Refractal
fun.
Studios it was just
Nothing
silent
else to say
the
during
entire
the whole
time, and then
show.
he's like, "I got this right here, though."
Got it
He's like,
right here.
"Penmanship," and I'm out. And he's like,
The stealth.
mm,
The stealth stab. The stealth stab.
"Stealth stab." I like the
That might sound like-
alliteration.
Yeah, though I think if stab is in it, it's hard to say no. Don't stab people.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
stealth stab,
Yeah.
or like only the stealth stab, and then in parentheses only for Amazon boxes or like letters and stuff.
I like how it doesn't work on other boxes.
Yeah,
Like it's
Well,
just
'cause,
open Amazon boxes.
like 80% of people it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Zelo says the pencil the people eraser.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a little. The violence is very subtle, but
red out
red out.
instead of white out. Red out. I don't know. No,
I feel like we're going in the wrong
So-
direction with this.
are we?
Yeah.
Steer us. Can you help us get us back on the right track?
No.
Penmanship.
Okay. Well,
I feel like penmanship is pretty good. I don't know if it needs a word before or after it or something like something penmanship. Or
like
The penmanship.
done. That's it.
but only like we'll have the there only about half the time.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this was a fun little exercise. I'm glad that we did this. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody, for all your suggestions. Coming soon to scamstuff.com. Boom. Let's see what else is going on. We do have some shoots coming up. We talked about previous shoots. Now we got some upcomings. If you're in the Austin area, next Thursday, that is, I believe, March 15th. That's right, 3/15. We're gonna try to do another Scam School shoot with everyone's favorite Diamond Jim Tyler.
The Ides of March.
That's right. Oh yeah, that's right. It'll be the Ides. That'll be fun. We don't have a date, or I'm sorry, we don't have a location or time nailed down. But my guess is, because that's still the middle of South by, that we will do it at the Moon Tower Saloon, which is a little ways out of town, out of all the downtown BS going on. So keep an eye out for that. And then I think we have a Modern Rogue shoot on the weekend of the 17th. I think.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
With Bill Duran?
Yes, Bill Duran will be back in town. That'll be fun. I did not see the email of suggestions of topics that we're doing, but it sounds like Bill has a couple of ideas. So
Yeah.
that'll be a good time. So if you're around, hit us up somehow, or just keep an eye out when we announce shoots like that. I want to do. I got a little bit of a topic here. In when was this? I guess this was the middle of February. Brian and I went out to Schenectady, New York.
Schenectady.
To do Brian's stage show again. That was our second time doing it at that theater at Proctor's, and it was another like one-man show sort of thing. It was a ticketed event, and because a lot of Brian's shows will be like for hire things, so it'll be like graduations or whatever. But this was like a ticketed event, 2 shows in one night. It was pretty cool. It was very cold. Turns out Schenectady, New York is cold in February.
Oh, but really?
Turns out. Though apparently we missed a bunch of snow. Thankfully, like we got in the day after a bunch of bad snow.
Not the good snow.
Not well, but the good snow doesn't stick. Like when you're dealing.
That's a bumper sticker. Good snow doesn't stick.
Good snow doesn't,
People just like, what is? All right.
I'm not saying yes, but Q3 sure design.
Yeah, good snow doesn't stick.
stick.
I feel like it vaguely sounds like you're talking about cocaine, but the good snow doesn't stick, buddy.
So that was a pretty good time. They have really great facilities there, and it's always an interesting show because the hotel that they put us up at is pretty nice, but it's like connected to the theater to the point where you could like go through an inside like shopping arcade to go between the two locations.
A shopping arcade.
Yeah, an arcade.
I was some fusion between like a retail store and an arcade.
No, I mean that's what old malls. That was like malls before the idea of malls were a thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. They used to have arcades in the malls, right?
No, like
penny arcades.
No,
Got it.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I'm dying.
I know what you're talking about.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes.
Thank you.
It didn't always used to be a place with video games in it.
Yes.
That's what.
Oh, no, I'm an old man.
Oh, I see.
Okay, yeah.
And
and the hotel that they book us at, I think, is not always busy that time of the year because both Brian and I end up getting like separate rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like suites. They're like entire suites. They've got like a stovetop and a full-sized fridge and
a full-size fridge,
with a freezer.
Wow, that means you can do that weird thing where you buy groceries and then you keep them in your hotel room.
Yeah, you could do that. You know, it comes with a glass and a plate.
It comes with a glass and a plate.
And like a pan and a pot to cook stuff. Like it was swanky. It was kind of swanky. Very cold. I could not get the heater to work though. So
you slept in a room with no heat?
Well, it would only heat up to like 64 degrees or something. And
well, that's pool weather up in Schenectady.
Well, that's cool, but I like it closer to 70. So
never appreciate what you got.
Oh my god! Actually, no. The worst thing, the thing worse than the cold was that I forgot my. What did I forget? My glasses. I brought my contact solution and my contacts. No, I forgot my contacts case also. But I did not bring my glasses, and so at night I had to take out my contacts and just kind of like hobble around because I can only see up to a few inches away from my eyes. So that was that. It was otherwise a good shoot, and then afterwards we hung out with a bunch of Diamond Club people and people who know Brian from Scam School and all sorts of stuff. It's fun. That I think is the most like fun part of it is like getting to hang out with people who listen to the shows and like the shows and talk about the shows because otherwise the podcast and stuff it's all online or whatever or it's in the chat room. So. I don't know. It's nice getting face to face with people on that. So that's that. Speaking of live shows, just a real quick thing. If you don't listen to Night Attack very regularly, in fact, I don't even think we've talked about it on Night Attack, the show, but there is a latent idea to try to do like a Night Attack live tour, like a small, very small stages.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But in a couple of cities and go out occasionally and doing some version of the live show. And I'm excited for it because it would mean that we would care about Night Attack. And it's fun. I don't know. The live Night Attacks are really fun and we only do them at conventions.
Night Attack, Live Attack.
Night Attack, Live Attack. Sure, yeah. We can workshop it maybe a little bit.
Live Attack.
But
the penmanship.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that taken? Are we using that for anything else? But so I will say, Justin has a friend who I think helped him set up his one-man show, his Politics live show that he did last week in San Francisco. Who has offered to help book stuff, which is cool because I think that's the one thing like really standing in the way is just like a person saying, I'm going to find you a place and I'm going to book it and I'm going to set the dates for you and you do everything else. So I think that might happen later this year. I think that there's a strong chance that happens. But who knows? You know, on one night attack that we did over, I don't know if it was this past month or the month before, but they were talking about things that they could do over South by, and one of the ideas was doing doing drunk SATs, getting hammered and doing like a short SAT test.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it at the end of the show, and Brian's like, "Yeah, I'll call Bernie Burns and I'll call all my famous friends." And then like immediately in the after show, he goes, "I don't think they're gonna be interested in that. We're gonna just." And I was like, "What the fuck? Come on! You're already known for not keeping up to your promises." So that was. So I think more than that. I think more than a thing that is said and then immediately forgotten. This is something
somewhere in between.
Somewhere
a guarantee and the aforementioned example.
Yeah. So we'll see.
You know, we talked about doing a Night Attack box set once.
Like CD box set, DVDs?
Yeah, and self-help.
When?
Give me the 12 CDs.
No.
That had to have been before.
Brian and I talked about it a little bit, like forever ago.
I remember one of the ideas early on for Scam School was to do a Scam School DVD box set. And part of me, I mean, I guess it depends on like what extra stuff you put in there, but I don't know why you would buy that unless you started taking some of that stuff off the internet.
Well, the other thing too, I think, is format. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't have a DVD player or a CD player.
Well, and you know, almost 10 years ago when it was the early days of Scam School, and that more people had DVD players and disc players still.
I think it was more of just an idea of like some kind of fun collector thing.
I think people still buy things in different formats if they're just cool. Like somebody could buy a cassette just because it's like, I got the cassette version of this, you know, MGMT album or something. I don't know.
Sure, yeah, you know, that's a good point. Though I think DVDs don't quite have
They're not quite sexy yet, right?
You know?
But a box set is probably the only way to make DVDs and CDs interesting in that way. And there's other stuff other than just the media. Whereas vinyl or even Laserdisc or cassette, you can probably just get away with the format being interesting on its own.
Could the case be Brian's head?
There you go. And it's also a Pez dispenser.
Yes.
Okay. What if there was a knife in there?
Yep. Okay.
And then we call it
the
Night Attack.
The Pezmanship.
The Pezmanship, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Night Attack : Pezmanship.
Yeah.
There we go.
Night Attack 2 Pezmanship.
Live.
Part 2.
Out of 3.
Can you make that? Can you make me a Pez dispenser that has like a hidden knife in it? Because that'd be way more useful than a pen.
That sounds like a good stocking stuffer for the kids.
Yes. What if it was I would love the idea. I'm pitching a story. It's a movie and it's about all of us, and that idea just happened. And then we send an idea to China to be like, hey, do you have is this one of the million things you've made already? And then they send us back like 10 huge crates, 10 shipping containers full of Pez dispensers, but instead of Pez, it's little knives. And little knives come out of it. Yeah. And we go, what do we do with all these knife Pez dispensers?
And then it's just credits.
Oh yeah, so it's part one. It's part one of a 2-part tale.
Okay.
Part 2 takes place on the moon. Anyway,
I like that. No, I like this. Yeah. And then part 3, for no particular reason, we're back on Earth.
Well, now we can find. We went off the path, and now we're back to finish the fight.
Yeah.
I think somebody has to fight crime with them, right?
Right? They'd have to be like,
oh, they can fire out of the Pez dispenser. Now you're onto something. There's more about the darts.
Like a ninja for some reason, and then
Well, then we have to go back and say, hey, China, can you put like a little blower on here so they get some speed?
And then at the end, it was all your dream. Right. It was all 3 parts.
Well, but
no, only 2 parts were your dream. The middle part of the moon was real.
The moon was real. Well, then I wake up and I go, wait, we just designed a gun.
Yeah.
Credits.
Yeah, that's
Smash cut credits.
And then hilarious outtakes. Yeah. All the hilarious outtakes.
I got my hand up and stuff.
So that's probably also there between that, like, definitely not going to happen and guaranteed. Probably also like kind of midway.
That was more likely to never happen.
But just the end credits, you say outtakes in the end credits, and all I can see now is the Scam School CTA, but just with like like credits on one side of it.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of
There's a
the
domain
DVD
ad in the
box
middle.
set, probably 2 or 3 months ago, Brian got really into the idea of recording an episode of Night Attack on wax cylinder.
Yeah.
And just selling one wax cylinder of a special recording that no one could play and would cost a lot of money to make.
Can it have some like early like ragtime music like at the opening?
Oh yeah. We'd have to commission someone to make a ragtime version of the Vicario song, and
Just go all the way, fly to the Edison Laboratory, do it on the original.
Yeah, right.
Did he think he was just going to pay it with his $500 of coins?
So we had to talk about the coins. Okay, Jeff, there's a box right next to you. I'd like you to pick it up, please.
This is an effect. No one's touched this box since we've been in. Okay,
It's got a lot of cupcake stickers on it, which
It
is
originally
why
had cupcakes in it.
interesting to me.
But more what's in the box. The cupcakes were great, by the
what's
way.
in the box?
So that mailer contains probably most of 500
Coins.
$1 coins that Brian Rushwood bought on eBay about a week ago.
For $900.
He bought it for about $530.
That's great.
And that was with a $20 discount. He was going
these
to
are
pay a
the-
$50 premium on actual money.
These are the Susan B. Anthony ones.
They're Susan B. Anthony coins.
Oh.
Because he couldn't get Sacagawea, the gold dollar coins from the bank. 'cause the
Right,
bank
and
only
all the
had so many.
Susan A. Anthonys are sold out.
And Waffle Africa says, why not go to the bank? Because the bank only has so many, and apparently he wanted. We can get to the nickels in a second.
Okay.
And so he goes. I just
Yeah,
come
I
to
do.
the studio one day, and there's an eBay receipt, and he bought 500 coins for like. So okay, the other thing, other props. David, in front of you on the table, there's a little canvas bag.
I knew this was set up for something. Yeah, this right here.
So a fan made this bag, these coin purses. This one's for Brian,
Oh, nice.
and he made one for Justin, because the guys do dollar bets. I put some trash in there because I wanted to clean up. They do these dollar bets where it's like, oh, I bet you $1 that this stupid thing did or didn't happen. And so they had mentioned on the show, and someone made these dollar coin things, which is cool. It's a cool idea.
So they can carry them around on their
When Brian already had about 150 not Susan B. Anthony, Sacagawea gold dollars, but apparently 500. He got 500 so he could pay his bar tab with it, which I think is
What?
yes. Okay.
What?
It's the most rude thing you could do,
Why do you want your bartender to hate you?
right? Because
Unless
at
they're all
South
going
by,
in the
there's
tip
not going to
jar.
be like table service. You're going to have to be like counting them out and plopping them out on an actual bar.
What if you put them in the tip jar? You just say to them for like a big bar tab, you tipped like $30 in the tip jar or
I
something.
guess so. The other thing is that you can't open a
shatters
bar
the tip
tab
jar.
here without giving up your credit card. I actually am just now thinking this. You can't open it. Every bar I've been to, you can't, unless there's table service, you can't set up a tab without a credit card.
It's a very heavy pouch.
Yeah.
Surprise! From Gates of Imagination.
Gates of Imagination. Yes, they made
Handcrafted custom leather goods.
I've got a Diamond Club keychain, leather keychain that they made, and it's great. They make really good stuff. Check them out.
I don't appreciate people enabling Brian.
I thought it was fine when he got 150 coins, but then getting 500 more.
Where's the limit?
Right.
What's the line?
I want all the dollar
I can
coins in
see-
circulation.
I can see making a video where you go to Best Buy and buy like a 4K TV and then give them 1,500 single individual coins, and just that's legal tender, man. You got to count 1,500.
Best Buy is probably not the best example.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Because Best Buy does not know what a $2 bill is. Best Buy has called like security on people who have tried to use $2 bills.
What? That's
You know, they're like,
crazy.
well, this is probably just one Best Buy, but they were like, this is not cash, and the person's like, yeah, totally is. I always just pay for stuff with $2 bills, and they ended up calling like the security who called the police, and it was because that guy was paying with like
What?
fake money, and
What what the
It's like, no,
fuck?
these are just $2 bills. Or,
I'm not surprised. Best Buy can be bad a lot of the time. Yeah. So
but
the
Circuit
line,
City wouldn't let that shit happen.
No,
Sorry.
Circuit-
Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah. At this point, we can say yes.
Okay.
And the line is somewhere between $150 and $650, I think. Because the 150 was going to was split up between Brian and Justin. So you think, like, I would think, okay, you know what? That's plenty of coins to go around for a whole fun 4 or 5 day hullabaloo. Though they're also probably only going to go out like once or twice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Why don't you get like Night Attack chips and just give each other fake money and then cash out at the end of the week?
But see, they like playing with fire. They want it to be real money.
I like how Bob said not paying strippers. That's called making it hail. At the strip club, making it hail.
Throwing coins on the stage.
Instead of making it rain. Hailstorm.
Fucking like,
Oh, you can put them in your Pez dispenser.
Yes, and then they fire out with a knife. I see. Yep.
okay.
Looks like that's the Act 2 kind of thing.
Yes,
Yep. All
on
right.
the moon. There's no gravity, digital
They
effects.
just keep going. Yeah.
And then Nichols, so someone sent us this box of cupcakes and a bunch of other little fun gifts. And at the bottom, they've been doing this thing on Night Attack where they say, if you pledge $1 to Patreon, the Night Attack Patreon, we will give Bryce a nickel. And so that has turned into people just trying to give me nickels, including this box, which has been taped with about 80 or so nickels as contraband. So I very much appreciate being given legal tender, but I would like to think my price is higher than this.
Somebody's angling for dimes.
But it's like this is cute, right? Because this was a gift box, and like Travis giving me a nickel in person is a thing. Someone, and I won't name who, was like tried to send me a nickel via a payment service I've never used. So it's like, you've got a nickel waiting for you on Bleedleblop wallet. And like, I don't really want to sign up for your thing. And then I would get like, hey, don't forget, you have money waiting for you on the doobity-doo wallet. And like, please go away.
Right.
And then after a week, it was like, we're going to return the money because you
That's-
don't want
that's
it. And I was
great.
like, yes, thank you.
I wish LinkedIn did that when they're like, so-and-so is waiting for your request, and you're like, wait a minute, first of all. And then I ask that person, did you request? And they go, no. This is a LinkedIn tricky thing. They make it sound like the person reached out to you and wanted to connect with you. But that's not true. LinkedIn just looked through their
LinkedIn
contacts.
is scummy,
And went, make it look like this person wants to connect.
Well,
I
LinkedIn-
feel like there's a class action lawsuit just about to happen.
I think there was one because LinkedIn would use like, we're getting wildly off topic, but LinkedIn would write things that looked like articles or fake like life events in emails about you to other people. And one of them was like, oh, so-and-so had a change of job or had something go on in life that was not true, but was a very big thing. And you don't want to tell people about if you don't want to. And they're like, hey, can you like email people and let them know that that was wrong or something because you got it wrong. And this is my you're the professional network. Anyway.
Yeah. LinkedIn is not at the apex of ethics.
Oh, okay. Hey, speaking of Apex.
What's that?
Speaking of Apex.
Oh, really? It's almost...
We have, if you're listening to this, there's a chance you've gotten your mystery box already.
Yeah.
Especially given when this episode will likely go up. And there's a chance we've already talked about this in the official video for it by this point. But the Apex decks are coming to scamstuff.com.
Yeah. For anybody who didn't get a mystery box, because we threw them in almost all of those, the Apex deck, I believe, will be on the site this Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we're going to have a video that shows a little bit about what that's about. But the basic idea is there are 3 powerful
features
about...
That was the thing during shooting, was like figuring out the right word for features.
Potent potables. There are 3 killer features about the deck. It's one way, subtly. It is marked, and it's also beveled, which makes for instant short cards. So you could do all kinds of stuff with any one of those principles, and a few things with the combination of them that you can't do with anything else. And
It's pretty cool to see a deck that has all 3 of those things built in, and they're all implemented in very interesting ways. Because we've talked on Scam School before about like short cards, where you shave a card down, and so the beveling sort of replaces that by being a little more invisible.
It is,
but also being a little more tactily usable.
Yeah,
and it's all of the cards. It's
I think
not
we
just
should have some
one.
sort of competition where somebody invents a trick that can be done just with the Apex deck, and then they get like a
gift card or something.
well, I was just gonna say like a roll of dollars.
Oh, I mean, is it legal? Can you mail money through the mail?
Well, they put those nickels in the bottom of that box.
That was contraband.
Okay.
You saw how that's taped. That's taped like contraband. That would be a fun thing.
We'll send them an early rough cut of the video of the 3-part series.
We're gonna have a contest go out and be done before that, in time for a rough cut.
It'll be fine. Yeah,
I haven't even started editing that thing. So that's cool. I got to see you and Brian play with them a little bit when we shot that video last week, and it's a very cool deck. It's especially if you're into sneaky maneuvering, cardistry sort of stuff, you could do some really interesting things with it.
Yeah, and the other thing too, so you can be kind of advanced on the cardistry level and see if you can do something with it, but you can also just be like somebody who doesn't want to bother with advanced sleight of hand, and the deck kind of makes things possible for you.
Yeah.
So
that's coming soon to youtube.com/scams stuff, where you see the video about it, or maybe that'll be on Scam.
It might be on Scam School, yeah.
And scamstuff.com. There you go. Mitsula says, stop making decks. I can't get AIP bottles made with them all. Because Mitsula gets he like instead of framing he puts them in bottles.
That's awesome.
You met Mitsula, I believe. No, I don't think you have. Have you? I don't know if you have or not.
I don't know. Where would I have met him?
In Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Maybe
Maybe.
like Magic Live or something like that.
Maybe. So that's cool. That's coming soon. And I think that just about does it. Brandt, this is what's this?
Yeah. So this kind of ties into Science with Brandt from earlier.
Science with Brandt from earlier.
Thank you.
But different.
So I wanted to just briefly touch upon editor's voice, which is a big component of Modern Rogue.
But is been a part of Scam School as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
But slightly differently, I think, depending on circumstances. So typically the way I think about it is there's a lot of risk to doing something like correcting somebody on screen, and that's something you never see on television, right? Because they have time and budget to where if somebody says something wrong, they can say, hey, we need to reshoot.
You got to do it right.
Yeah. So typically I feel like editors have two possible outcomes. When they have a bunch of footage, traditionally they can either recognize that something is wrong, something that is said or displayed is factually inaccurate, and they can choose to either cut it entirely, or they can leave it in and deal with the consequences of that. So typically it gets cut because they don't want wrong stuff put in. With Modern Rogue, we have a slightly different outcome where I can either cut it entirely, which last week's episode, the Making Fires with Batteries episode, I did that option because they kept talking about how the batteries had been depleted.
Yeah, I don't know why they thought those batteries were dead, because they were brand new batteries and we kept replacing them.
Yeah, and so what had happened is they were trying to light the steel wool, but they kept trying to light the areas that had already burned, which aren't going to react with oxygen anymore because they've already completed the reaction.
Another thing that I said, which was that, hey, those probably spent.
Yeah, and so for some reason they thought that it depleted the batteries, but I had a pretty good feeling that was wrong. I felt like 95 to 98% sure that is wrong, but I didn't have time to do research to figure out why that was wrong necessarily. Like there wasn't enough evidence to say definitively that they are wrong.
Definitely dead. Yeah.
And it wasn't consequential to decisions that they made later in the episode, so it's fairly easy to just cut out entirely. So I cut that out. Another option would be to leave that in and have them be wrong and then have the comments correct them. We've done that before. I don't really have a great specific example of something that I knew was wrong in the edit.
And you left it.
And I left it in. But I know that has happened where it's just like a lot of times that ends up happening when it's like, oh, okay, they said this and it's definitely wrong. But the fact that they think that this is right informs the viewer about decisions made later in the episode, which can't be cut. So I leave it in for circumstances like that. The two alternate options we have are either one, I can correct them or substantiate what they said, and I'm right, which is I think where the show shines the most, because like if they are wrong and I'm able to correct them, a lot of times I have to sort of bridge that gap of knowledge, and I have to say they are wrong because of these reasons, and this is right because of this reason. And I think people are better able to learn about the mechanics at play because, you know, they might have believed what Brian and Jason believe because that's a common misconception, or it better explains why something works, which Brian and Jason have not always been like, that's not their specialty. Like if we look at Scam School specifically, Brian's always been really good about describing how a trick works and not why a trick works.
Yeah.
And there was a remix I did a couple months ago where it was like some card trick or something, and Brian says, yeah, well, it works because you put it in this order. And it's like, well, that's true, that's how you set it up, but it works because of this mathematical equation, which isn't like super hard to figure out, but there's that extra barrier that he just didn't even think about it. And even in the original episode, like the viewer says, or the participant says, why does this work? And he goes, I don't know. Yeah. It just works like this.
Which has been a thing on Scam School multiple times. We just chat. We're going to have this week's episode about transitive dice go up.
Yeah.
And I think we're kind of banking on the fact that we've done an episode on this already, that which is why there was not a very heavy explanation when we shot it.
Just have like a little card that says like, here's.
Oh, I will probably have to make something at some point being like, hey, the odds are probably like this. But, you know, it was very briefly, and I think it's certainly simpler than like trying to say whether science is right or wrong about X, Y, or Z. But
sure,
there have been things like that. We had a similar thing with Jeff on your book test episode of like, David Rangel says like, oh, these three are the only possible combinations of cards you can get. And outside of part of it was because it was super loud there. None of the shooters could hear anything about the episode really while we were shooting it. And I think if they mentioned why we didn't pick it up on film at all, but there are actually 4 combinations that work. And it had to be a thing of like, well, we need to either say that this combination also can work and that people should prepare for that, or we need to explain why, because that's something that you could really quickly think, well, couldn't this other combination work or not? And if you leave that hole missing, that's unsatisfactory for the viewer, right? It's like, oh, you know, I have questions. And it's tough to put trust into something if you walk away from something thinking, well, I don't feel 100% stable. And in that situation, it's the sort of thing where if you got one of those combinations and you don't have the right excuse or the right reason to say, let's not use that, or if you're not prepared for it, or if you don't set it up in a certain way to exclude that one, you would be screwed if you were performing it, you know? And everyone has failures doing magic, but what we're trying to do is avoid those and iron those out, you know, because we're teaching you. You know, you don't want to teach someone into a hole. You want to teach them out of it.
Sure. Yeah. It's a tricky thing. And then, you know, you have your minor cases where something could be amended by just some kind of on-screen text that's like, hey, by the way, biddy bear. But sometimes
classic line, biddy bear.
And then sometimes you have your more extreme cases, like Modern Rogue last week, where I had to stop the video and say, okay, guys, like you're gonna have to know this to get through the rest of the episode. It's important. Let me just explain some things to you. And then, so one option is it works and it's right, and the other option is the worst possible scenario, which is you try to correct them and you are wrong in your correction, because even if they say something that is factually inaccurate, they don't purport to be experts. You know,
Right.
they're very clearly just some dudes trying to figure stuff out.
By making a correction, you're saying I've put another layer of research into this, and I am saying that this is right.
And if you're wrong, that like erodes a layer of credibility and trust in the edit and in the voice of the show, which is something that I'm very cognizant of. But yeah, like I feel like that's such a big part of modern Rogue, because there's so much like learning and teaching to be had in these like experiments and things that Brian and Jason just don't know about. And of course, as the editor, you have immense power of hindsight, and you can go like, oh, well, looking back at it, like obviously this doesn't work for these reasons, or it does for these. And so it's very tempting to inject that kind of thing into an episode, but there is a lot of risk associated with it if you're wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I got it right last week.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I'm glad. I remember seeing you in the Discord asking some of the people there about the research also into it. And hey, if you're a patron, you can become privy to conversations like that at patreon.com/modernrogue.
Yeah, you can.
Any last questions or topics before we get into plugs, everybody?
Nope.
Just real quick note.
Sure.
Atlanta's back on the air, and it's really great. Go watch Atlanta.
How was it?
It's very good. There was like a 3 or 4 day delay on getting to Amazon or something.
Really?
Yeah, it was really long. I remember last time there was the same thing, at least with the first episode, because I was like waiting for it, and then it showed up on iTunes quicker. So I was like, oh, I'll get on iTunes, and then
that's so weird.
Yeah, but cinematography is still great. It's still just an incredible atmospheric tone piece. Like if you watch the opening bit of season 2, episode 1, like from the start of the episode till the title screen comes up, and like that doesn't resonate with you, then I don't think the show's for you. I think it's still just incredible.
And they've done some really good like promotional video for this coming season. Like they had that one promo that was all just the like I don't even know what it was, but that like radial setup where it kind of looks like Donald Glover is like falling up from the ground and then falling back, but it's tracking him, so you kind of are seeing him like rotate through these locations. They had that one where it was like he was like walking backwards and pulling flyers off of a car, but it made it look like he was putting them in, but then other people were backwards.
Yeah, that was a season 1 promo, but that was really good.
Oh, weird. And then I must have just seen it recently.
Yeah, they had a good one that was like spotlight panning across the screen, and they were showing vignettes of the main characters in different locations, and there were like very subtle moments of people stealing from them because it's Robin season. And there's a lot of really smart, clever stuff. There's a really good Florida Man bit.
Oh, cool.
In last week's episode.
Very nice. Any other current events going on? Anybody see anything lately? Play anything lately?
Into the Breach is excellent.
Oh, it's very good.
It's very good,
It's
very
great.
cheap, and unlike FTL, you can totally beat it on easy, and it's not really that difficult.
Yeah,
So.
I beat easy the first time I played it. But it makes me want to go and play it again and get the achievements and play and get different squads and stuff.
It really changes once you get into the other squads, because most of the other squads don't do direct damage, so you're forced to use environmental factors and setting up different things.
And this is a small scale tactics game if you've never heard of Into the Breach. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
For example, like the second mech squad you open up, the Rusting Hulks have an artillery piece that shoots smoke out behind it whenever you shoot it. And for the Rusting Hulks, smoke will both stop an enemy unit from attacking and also damage them on the off turn. So it's like you can really it becomes a lot more like chess the more you play it, because you've got 3 things you're trying to figure out how to keep everybody alive and to not get hit. And so you're trying to figure out, so I push this guy over here into this guy, and then and then I can use this. So
what I like about the game on a macro level is how small every thing is, how bite-sized it is. So every stage is really small, and if depending on how long you're taking to strategize on your turns, it can matches may only be 10 minutes or so, if that even. It's really cool, and it's only like $15. Yep. I wish it was on the Switch because it would be a perfect Switch game, but I think their FAQ was like, we kind of got a little port heavy on FTL, so we're gonna just work on it. I
think you also get FTL for free if you
buy it.
If you buy it right now, so
that's cool. David, you do anything?
I've just been playing Pitfall, trying to beat the game.
It's
a never-ending
Atari
game.
Pitfall.
Yeah, Atari Pitfall. I haven't been doing that. I have been watching The Americans on FX.
The spy show.
The spy show. Yeah, I've been enjoying that, and then Planet Earth 2 is kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, the BBC documentary.
Yeah, so Planet Earth 2, they actually put like a camera on an eagle while it's flying.
Ooh.
And it looks almost fake. There are shots in there that look almost like that they were like, hey, let's just CG this. But I'm guessing they didn't. I'm hoping that Planet Earth is one of those shows.
They probably stabilize that stuff, but I don't think they fake anything.
There are some really, really amazing just scenes in Planet Earth 2. So I would highly recommend that one.
Yeah, and that's on Netflix now.
That is on Netflix. Yeah.
You know what I just watched last week? Heathers, the 1989 film.
It's really good.
It's really good. I didn't expect it to be so over the top. I went in knowing not a lot. I watched it because I knew that someone I follow on Twitter is a writer on the new Heathers TV show. And there was a lot of scuttlebutt of like, oh, it's not this the old respecting the old show, whatever. And so that made me like, okay, well, I'll go check it out and see if I like this, and maybe I'll check the TV show and kind of compare the two. But the movie's pretty good, and it's got a almost like Tim Burton sort of like weird surreal vibe to it, right? Like it's a little bit larger than life. It's not like goofy and cartoony in the way some of that stuff is, but it's an interesting dynamic of like, oh, here's the main character, but she is a cool girl and she doesn't necessarily want to be, but she's in that position now, which I think is an interesting starting point, because you would a lot of movies from the 90s are like about being the uncool kid trying to be the cool kids and then ending up being better than them,
right?
Which this is more like being a cool kid and becoming disillusioned and wanting to literally destroy them.
Yeah.
Also 1990 or 1989, just maybe a little loose with the F slur. I just a little loose with it for my taste.
Yeah,
for my taste.
There's a lot of that in that time period.
Yeah. But otherwise it was a pretty good. Christian Slater. I did not think as a young guy he would be the same exact guy, but he's still him.
Christian
has not changed at all.
Jack Nicholson kind of
a little bit
thing to his voice.
We're gonna love the phonies. The other notable thing, a weird relationship between Christian Slater's character and his father, of like them talking to each other, but like as the things they want each other to say. So like Christian Slater would be like, hey, sport, can I help you with your homework? And the dad would come in and he would say stuff. It was a weird, it was a little, it felt like an action. It felt like something you would do out of honesty, to be like open, like, hey, this is kind of how I would expect your role to be. But also honesty in acknowledging that those conversations are not happening. It's an interesting thing that is a very small part of that movie.
Yeah.
So I saw that on Netflix also.
Interesting fun fact, Christian Slater, not actually a Christian. I don't know if that's true or not. He might be a devout Catholic.
Okay. Let's do plugs. Jeff. What's up?
RageSelect.
RageSelect.com.
Yep.
Do you have any plans for upcoming games that people should keep an eye out for?
By the time this goes up, if you're not watching it live, I'm actually really, really, really excited this week because today a game came out on Steam called Super Seducer by it's like a full motion video, how to pick up women by one of these
mystery.
One of these pickup artist guys. I'll teach you the secrets, and I cannot wait to make fun of this game. It looks like it shows these scenarios where it's like if you were the woman, and it was like it's like a choose your own adventure full motion video, and it's like, oh, things are getting along real well, and then one of the options is like, oh, grab her breast, and it's like, no, and then he comes up to tell you why. But this little video of him telling you why is he's sitting in this chair, or he's sitting on like the edge of a bed, and in the bed are just two women in lingerie, just like chillaxing behind him to show what a big manly study is.
Well, to be fair, I think he's probably correct. Don't grab her breast at that point in the conversation.
It's actually good advice. Yeah. So I cannot wait to play that game. Yeah. It's going to be really stupid.
That guy seems weird. So what was it? It's weird. I
DMCA'd somebody and then realized that he was going down a road he didn't want to go down.
Well, and also, but like, how much of it was just trying to make publicity for the game? I don't know. It's weird. Okay, cool. Check that out. RageSelect.com. Coming soon. David Rowan.
What's up?
What do you got going on?
Plugs?
Yeah, plugs.
No, these are real. It's just 100% my hair.
Nice. Funny every week.
I'll just say Instagram.com/David Rowan, ROWYN. We'll leave it on Instagram today.
Oh, very nice. Oh, I need to follow you.
Trying to think if we got anything else. Yeah, keep an eye on the store. Probably a bunch of products coming up in the next month or 6 weeks. So
yeah, scamstuff.com, store.themodernrogue.com.
There you go.
Or is it shop?
I believe it is shop.themodernrogue.com. We should have one forward to the other. Yes.
Yeah. Brandt, what's going on, buddy?
Twitter.com/Gadwag, Instagram.com/Gadwag. You can see me post photographs and sometimes music recommendations on Instagram. You could also check out Instagram.com/Modern Rogue Show, where I sometimes post the early preview of the Modern Rogue Show the day before it goes up. And then you could go to Twitter.com/Modern Rogue Show, where sometimes I post a video preview of a thing when it goes up. Okay. And also sometimes they got the article things when they go up. And then also Twitch.tv/Gadwag, where sometimes I do Modern Rogue live stream edits, which is
check out the edits if you are interested in editing, post-production. Check out Brandt's edits. He's very methodical about his workflow.
Yeah. And you could also see me on the Patreon, which or on the Discord, more so, which I think there's a link to.
I think there's a link somewhere on themodernrogue.com somewhere,
but it's very limited access.
Yeah, if you're a patron at patreon.com/modernrogue, that's how you get access, posting access to it.
You could also probably catch me in the chat of giantbomb.com/TV.
Oh yeah, that's right. That thing is very cool.
Yeah, which I really wish we still had ours. I really miss that feature.
Well, one day.
Yeah, well. Okay.
I'm Bryce. You can find me at Brycas on Twitter, twitter.com/Brycas, BRYCAS. You can find me at Neshcom on Instagram. I'm using Instagram a little bit more. My Instagram story today was me going to the Warby Parker store to shop for glasses. I picked a pair
of pickled peppers
of spectacles. And
deep cut.
Yeah.
Those nice childhood burns. I picked a pair of glasses that I think I'm okay with. But then the price, because the problem is I have really bad eyesight. And so it's to get the high index lenses is like more than the cost of the frames and regular prescription lenses. So it was like, oh man. And I felt pressured into, I should have just like walked out and slept on it instead of making a decision there. In any case.
So basically you just told us you spent like $500 on glasses.
Like $220 on glasses. Instead of buying new contacts also. Yeah. That was the thing. Anyway, Instagram.com/Neshcom. You can find me producing the shows here on twitch.tv/nightattack. And I do some streams here on the channel as well, including the Rewind on the weekends. We have a Twitter for that at Rewind Cult, CULT. I post there when we've got new rewinds coming up, because it's not always the same day, but it's always on the weekend. That we won't have this week because South by, this is too many
Yeah.
things. This show, you can find this show at bizarrebriefing.com. You can find past episodes, show notes, time codes, link to the RSS feed, YouTube links, all of our Twitters and stuff. Get it there. You can watch the show on YouTube, youtube.com/scamstuff. And anything else? I think that's it, everybody.
Send nickels to Bryce. Help him pay for his glasses.
Thank you, everybody. That's going to do it for the February 2018 Bizarre Briefing.
Bye.
Have a good month.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.